As a form of cultural expression, fashion always reflects the deepest concerns of society. But unlike music or art, fashion's power to capture the present and even predict the future is only revealed with the passage of time. In the beginning of the 1880s, the European imperialism started to take place. Europe's greatest powers such as England, Spain, and France started fighting over territory to become more powerful. They did this because they needed raw materials, metals, commercial opportunities, and humanitarian reasons. Women in these times had no opinion. They were only there to serve men, maintain a house, and have children. Because of this, they had a lot of free time. They did not work, so they were able to wear very feminine-like dresses that consisted of corsets, gloves, hats, very exuberant shoes, umbrellas, etc. They were there to look pretty. One of the most fought-for continents was Africa. The Dutch lived there peacefully, then the English came to want to conquer and started a fight. In the 1880s, gold and diamond mines were discovered, making Africa a fighting playground for the most powerful countries.
Of your father in the forest. Oh, we don't want to miss you, but with all might and main, we can hear you, find you.
The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife in Sarajevo, shot to death by a Serbian named Gavrilo Princip, was the spark that finally pushed Austria-Hungary to declare war on Serbia, starting the domino effect that would later become the Great War. Countries started to form allies to become more powerful. There were two main teams, the Allies and the Central Powers. This was the first World War that the world would see. This was the first time women were able to volunteer for war. They volunteered as nurses and cooks. Meanwhile, back at home, the rest of the women had to play the part of father and mother. This forced fashion to change, replacing tight dresses, big hats, and a lot of accessories with simple, loose, and comfortable dresses, comfortable shoes that worked for labor, and simple little hats. Back at war, things were getting very slow. Soldiers were fighting via trenches, and this did not allow the war to finish. Until the Germans attacked an American trade ship that forced them to enter the war. The US had a big and powerful army that could easily beat the Germans. The war ended in 1918. 1920, also known as the Happy Twenties, was a time of happiness, glamour, partying, having fun, and especially money. After World War I, the United States had a big economical boom. Its stock market grew and everyone was making a lot of money. With the excess of time and money, people had the possibility to drink, party, and spend money all the time. Those years became the Roaring Twenties. Women wore glamorous gowns and pearls, making a statement with their short hair, sending a message of gender equality. Meanwhile, Italy was entering fascism, which is a political view that supports nationalism and patriotism, and where the state is the number one priority. Benito Mussolini was head of this new government. There was no freedom of press and no political oppositions. Those who opposed were executed by underground police. Fascism was in power from 1925 to 1931. In 1929, the market crashed. This was chaos, for investors lost all their money. The 1930s were home to America's Great Depression. It is the greatest depression there has ever been in history. World War II took place from 1939 to 1945. It has been the biggest war yet, with 30 countries involved and with 50 million fatalities. It is the deadliest conflict in human history. The main causes were the Treaty of Versailles that led Germany out, Hitler's actions, and failure of the League of Nations. Hitler was the leader of Nazism, which provoked the Holocaust, killing millions of Jews. Nazism is a form of fascism, but with biological racism. Hitler committed suicide in 1945 in the war's end, when he realized he had lost. Women helped with war as much as they could. Some volunteered as nurses, while others planted vegetables and fruits at their homes' gardens and sent them to their troops. This was called the Women's Land Army. They dressed flirty dresses tight at the waist and knee lengths with small, cute hats. They were strong and independent. This was a time when women started to study. In 1945, the world of high fashion lay in ruins. World War II had cut the Parisian haute couture off from Britain and from the source of its most devoted clientele, America. The Cold War took place from 1947 to 1991. It was political tension between the Soviet Union and the US. Soviet Union and their allies were Warsaw, and the US and theirs were the NATO. This war was all held through psychological warfare and threats of nuclear war. The war ended when communism fell and the Soviet Union was officially dissolved. After the Cold War, chains were being lifted all around, and women were one of them. Women started exploiting their sexuality with hard curves and pointed brows. One of the most famous feminine leaders was Monroe.